Hi, I'm Joe Paiva, and today we're going to talk about setting up a tripod over a point and leveling it up. Instead of using a total station, I'm using a leveling base that has built into it an optical plummet and a precise bubble. Of course, the tribrac itself does not have an optical plummet, but it does have a circular bubble, as you can see here. I prefer this type of situation because when you have a rotatable optical plummet, you can always check its accuracy. When it's built into the tribrac, it's not possible to do that during the course of a field day or even a field week. So the way we start this process is by moving the tripod around to get it close to where it needs to be. And when you get it close nearby, you can when you don't have to pick up all three legs, you can leave the leg furthest away from you on the ground and move the other two legs to position it. Of course, you want to be approximately horizontal, and so you can bring your eyes down to the level of the tripod and kind of glance at it. And then look through the optical plummet to see where you're hitting the ground. Usually, I will use my foot to figure out where I'm hitting the ground. I happen to be hitting a few centimeters away from the point, so I lift up the tripod legs and move the optical plummet so that it is on the point on the ground. Once I get it pretty close, I can actually use my leveling screws to get it exactly centered. And when that is done, I now level up the instrument, observing the circular bubble and extending and shortening the legs of the tripod. So I'm going to start by observing the position of the bubble and then moving the appropriate leg to get it into a position where another leg can be lengthened or shortened to get it centered. And usually this can be done with a couple of adjustments. Usually you go back and forth between two legs, or sometimes the three legs, but usually it's only an adjustment of 3 times, and you'll have the bubble fairly well centered. Now I got it fairly well centered right there. It's not exactly centered. So now I refine the centering of the bubble by using the leveling screws. And of course, doing that causes the optical plummet to move off the point. So I go back and check the optical plummet, and yes, I am off the point slightly, so I loosen the draw screw and move the tribrac system with the instrument or whatever it is attached to it on top over and re-center. Now I check the optical bubble once more, and now I'm ready to start leveling the instrument precisely. What we do now is rotate the bubble so that it is parallel to the line connecting 2 of the leveling screws, and then we turn the screws as needed to get the bubble centered. When we have it centered, we turn it 90 degrees so that it is only controlled by the leveling of the 3rd leveling screw, and I center the bubble. Doing that, however, because we're only estimating that 90 degrees, we go back to the original position and check again, and this time a lot more carefully. If needed, we make minor adjustments, and then we go back to the 2nd position. So I'm calling this position 1 and this position 2. Once this is centered, then we want to confirm that the level bubble itself is also in proper adjustment, and we do that by going to what I call position 3, which is diametrically opposite from position 1. Because if it moves off, that would tell me that there's some error in the adjustment of the level bubble, and you may have to make some corrections. And then you go to what I call position 4, which is 180 degrees from position 2. And in these 2 positions, I see that there's a slight amount of error. It's about 3/4 of a division. So I pull it back only half of that distance to adjust it. Because the whole idea in leveling is not to have the level bubble centered. That's only true if the level bubble is actually in adjustment. If the level bubble is slightly out of adjustment, the whole idea is to have the level bubble in the same part of the bubble tube as we go around through positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once we have that, and we do, but I'm just confirming back here in position 1. Once we have that, then I go back to the optical plummet and verify that I'm still on the point. If I'm slightly off the point, I would move it back on. In this case, I'm not. I haven't moved off, so I don't need to do any further adjustments, and I am leveled. So now I'm ready to start working. And that concludes this course.